A warm welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel, guys. So it's the day after I've finished the shooting of the video shooting of the best rinseless wash. I've packed away all the equipment, and panels are all gone away, everything's back in the garage. And I just thought, I'll line the products out now. I've cleared, my brain's a bit clearer. And here they are from kind of reverse point order, so the lowest in the test, through, those were joint 7th, 8th, through to our kind of winner, which was the Koch Chemie Rapid Rinseless Wash. And I just want to digest the whole experience with this and what I kind of feel. Doing this, like I said in some of the comments, just has piqued my interest a little bit in the rinseless wash thing, and I get it. There's still the cynics out there that are like, oh, I wouldn't wash my car that way. It's just a replacement for the contact wash soap, you know. So if you still want to pre-wash because you want to get the dirt off, you can go ahead and do that. But then you could, you know, contact wash with this. Or if you just want to do a quick light wash when it's dusty with these, they're ideal. But the benefits really are, they're just an alternative that's just as cheap as shampoo, possibly even cheaper if you're not having to rinse it all off and bust the pressure washer out. And the thing is, they're actually low bling, aren't they? They don't all foam up. They're not all like rich and lathery. They're just a flat bucket of liquid. So they're low bling, but they're using technology to try and provide a bit more lubrication for you. And that's all they really are in my head. An alternative, less blingy, but perhaps more versatile method. And because they're high concentrates, you can mix them down and use them for all sorts of other functions, making them versatile as well as affordable. So, you know, it's great. You can mix out as clay lube. You can mix out as quick detailers with some of them, you know. So you think, oh, they're really expensive, but I could take 50 mil of the Hydrosave or whatever ratio, mix myself, because it's got sealant in it, I can mix myself a bottle of QD as well as having a rinseless wash, all for the same price. So there's all sorts of little reasons to have them. Yeah, now, and in terms of which ones you like, you know, we picked a really good, credible field. I'm trying to sort of get the camera back so you can see them all. And you will all have your favourites, and I get that. Some of you will tell me that P&S is the best. Some will say Feynlab's the best. Some will say DIY Detail's the best. You know, the Armour's very well regarded. And the point scoring really won't ever reflect, you know, various people's opinions, and every single person that comes in and does this will come up with a different ranking. Perhaps, you know, unless they're doing exactly the same testing that is at the same time, they might come to the same conclusions, but it just depends. And they've all got their little strengths and weaknesses. I've got a little sort of personal preference to the American ones, a little bit, slightly. This is just, so you're going to hear thoughts in here, and this is just what's going on in my head. I'm less kind of likely to use the real heavy cleaner ones like these two, but they've got USPs because there's other people that just want the strongest kind of cleaner, and they're not caustic materials. They're still used at relatively low concentrations, but those two are real powerhouses. So, like, I'm more drawn to these murky American ones with the polymers and the encapsulations, but these may have it as well. I don't know. It's just like, this is what's going on in my head right now when I'm kind of like ruling ones out. So when I'm kind of ruling them out like this, I also don't want the ceramic sealant in there because don't want to mess around with my protection and all that sort of stuff. So I'd rule that out. The Autoglym one is too expensive for me, and I don't really want to use the Insta-Dry with it and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, there's other products I prefer. For that, it's like 3 or 4 times more the cost, and I can't justify it. The P&S is just personal preference, but it's the actual material that they're using is like a bit thick and a bit kind of weird, and I like the feel after using it, but I didn't feel the buff was quite as good on it, and I don't think it had quite that cleaning power or that dirt release that some of the others had that seems to be so important. And now I'm sort of left with these ones here. Now basically I would probably now just rule out the Armour and the DIY Detail in the UK, because there's a significant price difference to use these two. These are both north of £2 a wash. And it'd be great if those companies could get the prices down, because both these rinseless washes, the Armour and the DIY, I think are really good. I think they got all the credentials. You know, they're every bit as good a material as the McKees, for sure. The only thing is, the O&R did show me a little bit more cleaning power, as well as having all that kind of encapsulation quality, although these two were the best with the dirt release. So there is reasons for picking them. The McKees, I find it really difficult to separate it from the O&R, and I've been using this for quite a while, but the version 1 bottle over there that I've got, it is there, you know. And I've never really had any problems with it. I just use it and it works and it's fine. But the O&R showed me that it cleaned a little bit more, and the O&R is a little bit more affordable and a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit more versatile. I don't know. Not really, no, that's not versatility that does it for me. So I'm left kind of with 4 now. The Wolfgang is one of my favourites to feel on the panel. It's one of the slidiest when you dry the car, which I'm really, really like. I don't like the fact there's no litre offering available, because that's my preferred size of choice. But actually, I would say I probably prefer the feel of the Wolfgang over the Gyeon product. It's just, this Wolfgang thing's got some really slidey thing going on. The Gyeon one's a decent all-rounder. I would actually use it at 1:256. The bottle is going to get updated. So I think they're going to change that, because that usage ratio of 50 to 80 mil to 12 litres gives you a usage ratio of something up to about 1:240 if you do the maths, where it can be used to 1:256. So Gyeon are going to adjust that. But what I would do is just put the ratio on there. So you mix it down at this concentration ratio at 1:256. For example, then you could put, you know, whatever it is, you know, however much that is to a bucket, isn't it? Like 40 mil to 10 litres or whatever. So yeah, there you go. But that's a pretty good rinseless wash as far as I'm concerned. So it came 5th overall in the test. There's no reason why I wouldn't use that one. But there is a reason. So even though I prefer the feel of the Wolfgangs, they've put too much dye in it, in my opinion. And it just gets on your hands and stains your microfiber cloths when you're using it as a clay lube or at high ratio. And even at its mixed ratio, the material in the bucket, there's a pink tinge to it that's quite strong. Yeah, it's just, they've just overcooked that. So I would like, I don't know what's going on with Wolfgangs. I don't know anything about this brand, but I suspect this packaging hasn't changed, or I recognise the logo. I don't think it's changed. And I just don't get the impression that Wolfgang will be changing anything on this product anytime soon. Or anything like that. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be a highly active kind of brand, but maybe I'm wrong, because it is over in America. Whereas, you know, the Gyeon one, there's something they need to change on the label. I mean, that will be done. Like within a week, their label will be updated on their electronic copy, and then the next print run, they'll all get updated and it'll all be done, you know. Probably the same with some of these other brands, just be a bit more, you know, I don't know what the word is, you know, agile. So really, I think I'm probably left with 2 here that that would do it for me, you know. The Optimum is sort of below average on price per wash. It has the encapsulation kind of pedigree. It does seem to have a good bit of dirt release to it. But it does have good cleaning power as well, perhaps better than its kind of other American genre ones that are all... They all sort of look the same. The chemicals almost feel the same. They've got something going on, but they're not all the same. And this has a little bit more cleaning cut, if you like. But then I compare it to the Koch, and the Koch actually beat it on the dirt release. It didn't beat it on the cleaning power test, but it was a couple of places behind. It wasn't a massive difference. On the lubricity and all that sort of stuff and how it feels, I can't really tell any difference between these. I've used the Koch and it just gave me a clean car. It didn't cover it in swirls. So there's no fundamental flaws with any of them in that sense, if you're careful. But the big seller for me is a litre of this will be about £23, give or take the odd penny, whatever. A litre of this will be roughly £13, £12.95. It's half the price. Well, not quite. Dumbass. It's just over half the price. You know, if that was 26 quid, it'd be half the price. And the market average is indeed 26 quid for a litre from the ones I compared. So that just makes it a no-brainer for me. Every time I need a waterless wash, I can go and buy one for £12.95. And if I change my mind and I want to go to the next cheapest, it's 20 quid, which is another 7 quid, which is, doesn't sound much, 7 quid, but as a percentage of 13 quid, it's quite a big chunk difference. So what, it's about 40%, what is that, about 60% cheaper than the Carbon Collective, not taking into account the ratios, because that's the cheapest cost per wash, but you get the idea. It's just when I'm shelling out for it, the chemical cost is very low. Combined with that, we didn't factor this in the test, but I just think Koch are a really good brand. Just really solid, aren't they? Really, really good. And I think this is the one that I'll be using going forward. The problem is this bottle will last me years. I've already got one bottle over there that's going to last me years. I'll probably decant that or give it to someone or whatever. I'll eventually give away some of these. I've just got to finish. I'm still going to go through and do a video on all of these, but I decided that I know enough about them now to do the test. But I'm going to shoot videos just doing washes on my car with them. In fact, funny enough, that it's ripe, it's prime for a rinseless wash. Actually, it's quite a lot of wet autumn film over it. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this. But like I say, take your pick. Take your pick. Ooh, it's a tough field, isn't it? Tough field, and they've all got their little things going for them. I'm going to use this one next and just do a video shooting on this one, and I'll use it to clean this. And I'm pretty sure it's going to do an absolutely fantastic job, and it's not going to scratch my car. My car's not going to be covered in swirls. The more dirt that's on there, obviously, the more careful you've got to be. Be very careful when you're doing the towel dry bit, just kind of matador your towel over. Yeah, and this will be absolutely fine. It's interesting as well, well, I've got this in my hand. Oh, actually, I'm going to be talking about this in a minute. So, yeah, it is interesting, all of this sort of stuff. Is that dirt release, you know, is that so valuable you could alter the scaling of this and then all the rankings would change? Because it doesn't feel like, to me, that's the second worst product in this test. Like when I was just filtering through them and all that sort of stuff without thinking about points, that would make the cut all the way up to the sort of halfway point where suddenly I'm looking at them all and the price just comes back into my head. And I think that's the challenge for brands like Armour and DIY Detail that are making good inroads and doing good work. But that challenge is, in other countries, can you compete on the price? I would imagine these are cheaper in America, and you guys tell me you buy gallons of them and all that sort of stuff, and it works out really cost effective and all that. That's really good. Yeah, but they're not quite competitive on price over here, and you know that £12.95 versus whatever these are, whatever they are when you calculate them. I think it would help these brands if they offered litres as well, because litre to me seems to be the sweet spot. It's a good amount. It lasts you a good amount when you've got a litre. 500ml, you go through them quite quickly. But if you like trying different products, then 500ml is kind of quite cool. And 500ml will still last you a fair old whack. Not too keen on these bottles. I'm a bit thick. I can't work out how to use these dosing things properly. Are you supposed to squeeze it or something to get it to fill in there? But I struggle to kind of like, maybe that is the trick. If you take the lid off, you can't do the squeeze thing. So maybe that's the trick. But no, but it sucks it back out again. How do you? Someone put in the comments how you operate those. Oh, that's the key. So you undo that chamber, and then you squeeze, and then that should dose out to 1 ounce. Okay, so that wasn't that complicated, John. How do you dose out to ½ an ounce when you've got 1 ounce in there? I suppose you tip it out. How do you empty that? So it's not perfect, this thing, but I suppose it's just, you've got to mess around with it. But I didn't factor that in. It's quite a nifty little thing. It's quite a clever little thing, but I just can't, dumbass here, can't get to grips with it. Yeah. So good. I've talked about them, and it's been on my brain. When I do these tests, it's sort of it's all I think about for while I'm doing the kind of tests. From the moment I go and buy them and start looking at prices and start doing the testing, it's on my brain 24/7. Just I think I said in another video, I go inside and the missus will say something to me and I just like, I don't even hear what she's saying because I'm just so locked on to these products. And when I finish the test, it's like it releases all that thinking, and then suddenly you can go back to just being a normal person where if she speaks to me, I can actually hear it and pick up on it and answer. That's just part of my, I've got some weird thing, I've got some weird problem. I've got some weird problem. So there we go. I loved this one. Again, it's kind of, it's just a different genre that we haven't properly explored, and I really wanted to explore it. And I like waterless washes, rinseless washes. But as I've said before, if there's something I don't like about them, I'll tell you. And I don't like using them on really heavily soiled vehicles without the pre-wash first, because I can't get into all here with the soft microfiber, so I'm going to be poking it out. Be reliant on contact to get into all those crevices, and I don't like them for wheel cleaning either. Again, same sort of reason, whereas pressure wash will do all that lovely hard work for me. Flood it with the nice detergent, let it sit there, soften everything up, get it all off, and blast it all out, and then go in and contact wash with whatever you want to use for contact washing. I would also do think when you rinse your contact wash shampoo off, there's less risk of like little chemical spots later on, because if you don't rinse these materials off, you're reliant on picking them up with the microfiber towel, and they can get into areas and crevices and then run out, a bit like everything. But when you rinse a car and dry it, if you miss bits, it tends to be pure water. Whereas if you miss bits with this, it's water and the material, and when that dries, it's more noticeable on the car. So that's another thing I've noticed about them as well. But a lot of this is inexperience from me as a user, and I'm gaining experience by going through this process. So all of these little problems have got solutions, and then when you've at the stage where you're using them without encountering any problems or bad results, you're no longer a rinseless novice. So I'm still a rinseless novice, really. And I'm a little bit lazy with the bending over. So I tend to, I'm great, I'm really thorough when I do this bit here, because it's all like you're leaning down there. Not so thorough doing down there and under the seal and all that, because I've got to bend over. Yeah, I love this car, by the way. It's dirty, it needs a clean. So that's my mop up on the rinseless wash. There is no right or wrong. There is a good weighting, as I've spoken about in my tests, on price. Although the weighting on price of this, I think it was only like about a fifth of the overall mark. So actually maybe less than even some other tests. But with this particular format of product, a bit like glass cleaners, you are going beyond splitting the atom to separate them with all these like lab style tests, which might look good on camera, make the video look more credible. It's not the reason we do them. We do them to try and find a way of separating performance. But the reality was the scratch resisting test we did was really a failure, because I was expecting to be able to introduce haze, a level of haze with the FeO2, Fe2O3, yeah, the rust. Almost like an abrasive slurry, rub it up and down, introduce haze. But because it only introduced micro scratching, loads of it, the gloss meter couldn't measure the haze increment. So the light is still bouncing off fine, whereas I thought it was going to introduce measurable haze. So I had to end up using my eyeballs, and I couldn't really tell the difference with a lot of them. So that's a limitation, but loads of them were just like in 7th place, joint last, and all the ones that added gloss, there was definitely less marring on there. So I wonder if that's filling effect. So, but ultimately it's a limited test, but the results are the results. It's the same with any test we've done over the last 10 years. There's limitations, but the tests are a little bit better now, I think. Yeah, so there we go. Let me know your thoughts on this. Could we go again? Could we go again with another rinseless wash in 2025? I don't think so. The products are coming fast and furious, fast and thick. They always are. People, I was talking about in the other ceramic spray video, because I just polished the mop. I just published the mop up video. And then people were talking already, John, you've got to try Renegade. John, you've got to try this brand. This brand. I haven't heard of them. So there's like new brands coming along quicker now. It's like an acceleration of new brands, and it's too much. It's too much. It was always a lot, and I would always caveat, you know, I've done 10 products in the test, 15 products in the test, 20 products in the test. There's 500, there's 1,000 out there, guys. So you always get the, what, no BSD? Someone always asks for Sonex BSD. I could do a comparison video on like, you know, the best tyre gel, and someone will say, well, no Sonex BSD? It's an ongoing joke. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Don't forget to subscribe. Is there anything I've missed in the discussions? No, there isn't really. You know how I roll. You know how I think. I've been doing it too long. Over and out.